Considering last week's devastating Xbox news and just how frustrated we all were with Microsoft, this week has to be better, right? I think it is slightly. There's a lot of good stuff to talk about. Welcome back to the Game News Show. Let's just jump right in. Bit of a weird start, I'm gonna be honest, but we'll roll with it. It works. Let's kick things off with some Ghost of Yotei coming state of play. It's like a focused state of play from PlayStation on Ghost of Yotei on July 10th at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern. Looks cool. I'm just not a big fan of these like game focused directs or presentations because I feel like they spend so much time taking what I like about new games. Like, I'm playing a new game, I want to go in and I want to I just want to explore. I want to experience everything fresh. I'm already sold. Like, I don't need more footage and more plot explained to me. Let me naturally uncover that. But I know a lot of people are excited for this game, so it'll be cool to see what they show. I don't know that I'll be doing any kind of reaction to it, but I may watch it. I still haven't played Ghost of Tsushima, which I need to play that as well, so just one more for the backlog. But very cool to see. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be excited about it. But yeah, let's move on. All right. Game Pass boosted Call of Duty World War II to being the number 15 most played game on Xbox. And I find that wild. We'll talk about Game Pass a little later in the show, but Call of Duty World War II hit Game Pass very recently and is doing really well. They actually had to pull it on PC because of cheaters and hackers and stuff. But the game itself, very popular in Game Pass on Xbox specifically. I haven't downloaded it, but maybe I should. Maybe it's just a fun old school Call of Duty, right? I haven't played it, so I don't know. I don't know what to expect going in, but I might download it. All right. I thought this was interesting. Grand Theft Auto 5 will be releasing in Saudi Arabia after it was banned in July 2018. It will have a 21 plus rating, which makes total sense, but I didn't know this game was banned in the Middle East at all. So Saudi Arabia is like, hey, y'all can have GTA 5 now, I guess. And it's weird. I guess they're trying to build hype for GTA 6 or give them something to play until another almost 10 years. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm going to stop there. But that's cool. It's weird. Grand Theft Auto 5 keeps re-releasing in different ways. And this is just another way. Wild. All right, let's move on. We got Call of Duty Mobile has reportedly made $3 billion in lifetime revenue. This is on Insider Gaming. This is a bit of a longer article, but definitely one that I wanted to talk about because Call of Duty Mobile is really fun in short bursts, which it's designed to be. I mean, look at this picture. Look at what's going on. This isn't Call of Duty. This is anime Call of Duty, and it's fantastic. I actually really like it. I'll play it every once in a while. Let's read the article, though. According to the Call of Duty Mobile product manager, the title has reportedly surpassed $3 billion in lifetime revenue. The numbers originate from the LinkedIn profile of John Matthews, the current product manager of Call of Duty Mobile, who is also the former product manager for Diablo Immortal. Per the numbers shared by Matthews, Call of Duty Mobile has surpassed $3 billion in revenue and $1 billion in downloads. For Diablo Immortal, the title generated $500 million in its first year and surpassed 30 million downloads. That's crazy. COD Mobile is the free-to-play version of the Call of Duty we know and love on consoles and PC. It's the free-to-play model that has helped the title surpass these massive revenue numbers, bringing in substantial income through microtransactions for COD points, battle passes, and other premium content. Similarly, Diablo Immortal is also a free-to-play mobile game that has made its earnings through microtransactions. Moreover, COD Mobile is one of the most successful mobile game launches, surpassing prominent names such as PUBG, Fortnite, and Apex Legends in its first week. The game managed to bring in 100 million downloads within its first week across iOS and Android, which is 4 times the number achieved by other games. Many were worried that COD Mobile would fade out once Warzone Mobile was released. However, Activision has ended support for the latter, and the former is still going stronger than ever. Right, Warzone Mobile came and went, didn't it? It didn't have a place, though. In other news, COD Mobile makes more money in a month than Warzone Mobile made in a year. Also, COD World War II was taken offline. Okay, see, I hate when they do this in these articles. Like, oh yeah, but keep reading. What are your thoughts? And then, yada yada. All right. Well, anyway, interesting that this game has been around as long as it has. I've played it off and on. It is a fun game. I kind of wish mainline Call of Duty would do what COD Mobile does and just exist on its own. COD multiplayer just as its own thing on consoles, on PC. They could just port Call of Duty Mobile to consoles and it would be way more popular because it's just multiplayer focused. They're not releasing a new game every year that invalidates all your previous purchases, or you have to be blessed and fortunate enough that the skins you bought from the last game might carry over to the next game and probably won't carry over past that. It's just crazy. I don't understand. They see games like Fortnite, they have COD Mobile, and they wonder how can we do that but better? And it's you don't have to be better. You just have to do things that make your game feel like it's around longer than 1 year at a time. I guarantee if they just quit making it an annual release and just release those single player experiences, those would still sell. You could charge $80 for those, but make the Call of Duty multiplayer app a standalone product, it would be so much better. People would be so hyped if they could go, oh yeah, my skins aren't going away. They could rotate maps in and out. They could literally monetize the crap out of the game. And it would be disgusting to see, just as a gamer who's not big on monetization. I don't mind what Fortnite is doing. They have a very good system in place. And yes, you're only buying cosmetics and skins, but they are very well designed. They're, popular. They're relevant. They're really interesting. Even their in-house stuff. Their own skins are really cool. Call of Duty could do the same thing. Clearly, they're doing it with COD Mobile. It's a very different game, but at its core, it's Call of Duty. It's wild to think about. $3 billion in lifetime revenue. So yeah, there's something to learn there. Activision, Xbox, you gotta do this better. All right, moving on. All right, cool. We talked about this last week on the podcast, but PlayStation hit Helldivers 2 is officially coming to Xbox with crossplay. And crossplay with everybody. So everybody that has Helldivers 2 can play together, which is great. Is it too little too late? I don't know, but let's read what the article says. This is on VGC from Jordan Midler. PlayStation's Helldivers 2 is officially coming to Xbox consoles next month. The online co-op shooter, which was released on PS5 and PC last year, will come to Xbox Series X and S on August 26th. Developer Arrowhead announced on Thursday. The game will feature cross-platform play with users on both PlayStation and PC. Both the standard version of the game and the Super Citizen edition of the game are now available for pre-order on Xbox. We know gamers have been asking for this for some time, and we're so excited to bring more Helldivers into our game, said game director Mikkel Eriksson. Mikhail? My bad. We have so much more in store for the future months and years, and the more players we have, the more stories we can tell. The fight for Super Earth has only just begun. Helldivers 2 was Sony's biggest hit of last year, becoming PlayStation's fastest-selling game launch ever, with sales far exceeding expectations at 12 million copies sold across PC and PS5 in its first 12 weeks. As part of its attempt to create more popular live service games, Sony is increasingly launching its online titles, such as the upcoming Marathon, across multiple console platforms. However, the company has indicated that its single-player games will remain exclusive to PlayStation consoles, with later PC ports to follow. Following the game's launch success, Helldivers 2's director Johan Pilestedt revealed he'd taken an extended break from game development before the studio works on his next game. Earlier this year, he said he was already planning Arrowhead's next game, telling players he was working on the high concept and inviting speculation on what it could be. Arrowhead has continued to update Helldivers 2 since launch, and Pilestedt, I'm sorry, I'm butchering your name, has even suggested it will work on the game until it effectively becomes Helldivers 3. That's kind of cool when you consider it, because that's what I was worried about. The game's been out a year, so everybody jumping in on Xbox who's never played Helldivers 2 before won't have a whole lot of context on what's going on in the game without some kind of quick recap or something. However, I think it's pretty awesome that it's coming out on Xbox at all. I think Sony, to get the live service like stood up and working for any game that they want to do this to, it has to be multi-platform, has to be crossplay. They got to bring it to the Switch. You know, like I think they could. And we'll talk about why in a moment. I have another article about that. But this game could be on Switch too, and it'd be awesome. And even more people would be on board. Like, that would be crazy, right? We'll see what happens in the future. But, yeah, I might pick it up. I'm hoping it's fun. I might pick it up on PlayStation. I might pick it up on Xbox. I don't know. We'll see when the time comes. There's so many games coming out. But I have wanted to jump into Helldivers too. And now seems like the best time to do it. So that's cool. Let's move on. All right, let's talk about Anthem, a game we have not talked about in a very long time. EA updated the website, Anthem Game Update. We have an important update to share regarding Anthem. After careful consideration, we'll be sunsetting Anthem on January 12th, 2026. It means the game will still be playable online for the next 180 days. As of today, you can no longer purchase in-game premium currency, but you can still use your remaining balance until the servers go offline. We deeply appreciate your dedication, passion, and support over the years. We'd like to thank you for that. For additional information on Anthem, please refer to the FAQ below. BioWare team. So, January 12th is when it goes offline. Why can't I play Anthem in offline mode? Anthem was designed to be an online-only title, so once the servers go offline, the game will no longer be playable. If only somebody would, do something about games that are killed. If only we could just stop killing games. Some would say. Can I still install Anthem if I previously purchased the game? Yes, if you previously purchased Anthem, the game can still be downloaded from a digital library and played until January 12th. Why can I no longer purchase Anthem? It's because it's being sunset. You can use your in-game currency. Anthem will be removed from the EA playlist on August 15th, 2025. Has anyone else at BioWare been affected by these changes? No, sunsetting of Anthem has not led to layoffs. I guess it's important that they say that, but this is dumb. The game really should have gotten a second chance, and EA just made that weird for everybody. But I really think this is a bummer, because this game could have been good. The little bit that I played of it, it was very fun. I enjoyed my time with it. I understand why people were not happy with how it launched, but it's such a bummer. Like, it always sucks when a game goes offline, and it's a shame that like this game's being completely pulled. Like Titanfall 1 was completely pulled, right? At least I believe. I don't think you can get Titanfall 1 at all anymore. And so it's just, it's one of those things where it's like, if there was just an offline mode or a local host mode where we could just LAN, I stand up my own server and we can connect to it, that'd be cool. Right? I don't know. I do know this needs to be fixed. This is a bummer. But yeah, it just is timely. Feels like they're trying to get ahead of something. I couldn't imagine what though. What maybe new legislation in the EU might be put on the table, might be brought forward that might cost EA lots of money on a game they've lost lots of money on, apparently. Anyway, I'm not going to rag on this game too much. I liked it, and I hate to see it go away. That's where I'll leave it. But let's talk about some more bad news from Insider Gaming. Sam CPO writes, Final Fantasy IX Remake's development is in trouble, it's claimed. So Final Fantasy IX just celebrated its 25th anniversary. It is my favorite Final Fantasy of the numbered entries, and it is the first one I played, but like all Final Fantasies, I have yet to ever finish it. I was looking forward to the remake. According to a known leaker, the development of Final Fantasy IX Remake is reportedly in trouble, with him also hearing rumors about a possible cancellation. Spotted on our Gaming Leaks and Rumors, Nate the Hate was recently asked for an update on the Final Fantasy IX Remake status on Reset Era. The leaker revealed that last he checked, the remake was still in development, however he needs to do a fresh check to learn more about the current status. Nate added that a month ago, he did hear that Final Fantasy IX Remake was in trouble and possibly canceled. However, he had only one source claiming the cancellation possibility, and they will have to investigate further to confirm. Regardless, the fact that Final Fantasy IX Remake is in trouble will now not go down well with fans. I mean, we've heard rumors about it for so long now. Which is what he says. Players have been hearing about the remake for a long time now. However, rumors started heating up when a dedicated website was launched for FF9 to celebrate its 25th anniversary. Moreover, Square Enix also recently teased the game on its social media, posting a quote from the ending sequence of Final Fantasy IX. Additionally, considering how the FF7 Remake trilogy has performed, a new remake makes a lot of sense. So yeah, it's in trouble in so much that we don't know. Did it get canceled with all of the industry shakeups and layoffs and things going on? Did Square change plans? Maybe it's shelved for now. Maybe it is coming out. They have not acknowledged it, the game's existence, much at all in any official capacity. We don't know. This game has existed as a rumor. So the rumor that it's canceled, does the game even exist? I don't know. I hope it does. I love Final Fantasy IX. I want to replay it. But I just know that if the remake is real and I start playing the original, that remake will get shadow dropped and I will have to start over. And I don't want to do that. But I might, if that's what it takes to get this game out. I don't know. I'd like Square to acknowledge it one way or the other and let us know like where it's at in development. How much longer are we going to wait? That's all I want. All right, let's move on. Okay, another one from Insider Gaming. Switch 2 can easily port any 60 FPS Xbox Series S game, says Virtuos. Virtuos just released the Oblivion remaster port. They did the work on it for the Xbox and PC. I believe it was also on PS5, but that's where I downloaded it. Anyway, with the Switch 2 released, many wonder whether it has the power to run all current gen games, and according to Virtuos, it seems that any 60 FPS Xbox Series S game should easily port to the new console. The Switch 2 is the latest addition to the console market, and since its release, players have been working to understand how it compares to current gen consoles. Last month, we learned that its power was closer to the Xbox Series S. Now we know that the new console should be able to port any 60 FPS Series S game as well. Switch 2 performs slightly below Xbox Series S, but DLSS helps make it comparable. In an interview with WCCF Tech, Virtuos, the developers responsible for ports of games such as Horizon Zero Dawn, Cyberpunk 2077, Hogwarts Legacy, Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, discussed the Switch 2 and the Xbox Series S. O'Grady, the director of business development of Virtuos North America, explained that the performance of the Switch 2 is slightly below that of the Series S. However, he noted that the Series S lacks technologies like DLSS, which makes the overall GPU capabilities of both consoles comparable. The distinction between the two lies in the CPU department, with the Switch 2 being more comparable to the PS4. However, Grady adds that when games are well optimized, they're more GPU bound than CPU bound, and the impact largely depends on the specific game and its target frame rate. Any game shipping at 60 FPS on the Series S should easily port to the Switch 2. Similarly, a 30 FPS GPU-bound Series S game should also port well, which is great news. The developers will face challenges importing games that have complex physics, animations, or other CPU-intensive elements. Those come with additional charges when targeting 30 or 60 FPS, and also require extra optimization during porting. In other news, we're not going to worry about that. But that's kind of cool. I mean, Virtuos would be one to trust their opinion on it, seeing as how they just put Oblivion on the Series S and it runs really well. And then I believe they handled the port for Cyberpunk 2077 on Switch 1 or Switch 2, maybe both. But that's really awesome. It gives us a lot of hope for at least current gen titles that could find a breath of fresh air on the Switch 2, or maybe multiplayer titles could get like a revamped community in the form of Switch 2 players, just as that console continues to do really well on the market. But yeah, like easily port sounds awesome. Obviously there's work to be done. Development isn't a easy task, but it'd be great to see Master Chief Collection drop on the Switch 2 and run really well. You know, that's all I'm saying. Microsoft is already committed to making everything multi-platform. Put Master Chief on Switch 2. It'd be awesome. All right, Nintendo says game development risks increasing due to higher game prices and rising production costs. Suggests shorter development periods as one solution. I thought this was interesting. This is from Tom Phillips over at IGN. Nintendo has said it will limit the amount of time spent developing some game projects as one solution to the increasing risks of game production as it enters its Switch 2 era. Growing development budgets driven by ever larger projects and higher fidelity games, as well as the increased cost of products to consumers, have meant that the high-risk business of making games was only becoming riskier. Nintendo boss Shuntaro Furukawa recently told investors. In response, Furukawa said Nintendo is attempting to develop some game software on shorter timelines as a potential method of addressing this. As part of a newly translated Nintendo Investor QA, the company's president acknowledged that projects which required more time and resources were increasing game development budgets. And while offsetting these higher costs with a higher price to consumers was one solution, this could also limit the number of people willing and able to pay for them. Recent game software development has become larger in scale and longer in duration, resulting in higher development costs. The game business has always been a high-risk business, and we recognize that rising development costs are increasing that risk. Which is true. I mean, that, we've talked about that as much. Things are getting more expensive because they're more complex. So focusing on maybe a smaller game or several smaller games might attract more people. Switch 2 launched alongside the company's first ever $80 game, Mario Kart World. That seems wrong, because I could remember Super Nintendo games selling for $80. That seems... Were none of them Nintendo games? I don't know. That's something to look up. A generation after the company began pricing some of its bigger budget titles, such as Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, at $70, which was a surprise, but wasn't really... there's a lot of work that went into that game. In response, Nintendo previously said that the value proposition Mario Kart World justified its price tag. It was not a new benchmark for all of its titles. Instead, Nintendo said the company would offer variable pricing, as seen with the $10 minigame collection, Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, and the upcoming blockbuster Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is $70. Still, Furukawa has said that Nintendo is investigating ways to continue providing its usual standard of novelty that fans have come to expect, with the need to ensure its game budgets don't spiral out of control and game prices remain affordable to as many players as possible. Our dev teams are devising various ways to maintain our traditional approach to creating games amidst the increasing scale and length of development, Furukawa continued. We believe it is important to make the necessary investments for more efficient development. It's here that the idea of creating games with faster development cycles comes in, the suggestion that Nintendo can be more economical by potentially limiting a project's scope or scale while still providing a satisfying experience. We also believe it is possible to develop game software with shorter development periods that still offer consumers a sense of novelty, Furukawa concluded, without providing an example of this. We see this as one potential solution to the concern about rising development costs and software prices, and we will explore it from various angles within the company. Nintendo previously received criticism from fans pricing Switch 2 Welcome Edition at $10 rather than offering it as a free Wii Sports style pack-in. The company has also charged a $10 fee for its upgrades to both Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and will require Super Mario Party Jamboree owners pay $20 to upgrade to the game's Switch 2 version with new modes. I think that's worded poorly, because yes, the additional content that's included at the Switch 2 version is $20. Like, you still get the performance benefits for Mario Party Jamboree, but they make it sound like if I put Mario Party Jamboree into my Switch 2, it's not gonna work unless I swipe the debit card and pay the $20. Like, that wording is not great. The whole upgrade thing for Switch 2 games is weird, because like, you're getting more content, you're getting new features that weren't in these original games, and so the $10 fee for each game is very minimal to a game that you've probably already played through completely, finished, and are looking to replay. Like, you're getting more out of your... I don't know. That's just weird wording, and that's not the focus of this article. The shorter development periods and lower, smaller scope titles, I think is a great idea. I think if the cost is the big concern, now would be a time to start looking at how to port 3DS titles that we've been wanting over to the Switch 2. Kid Icarus would be a fantastic game. The 3DS Kid Icarus. Was it Uprising? That was it called? Anyway, That'd be a fantastic port to the Switch or Switch 2. You could do both. I mean, honestly, why wouldn't it be able to run? I think the 3D ports of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask would be fantastic re-releases on the Switch 2. Where's our Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD? We could get them in 4K on the Switch 2. You know, there's a bunch of things that Nintendo could do to still provide value and just port games that I think that should be a big focus, honestly. And that's just me making a wish list of things that I want to replay. But I don't have the hardware to replay all of that. Well, mostly 3DS games and DS games. I think those could be revisited. How cool would it be to get like a Mario Odyssey like looking version of Mario 64, but it's Mario 64 DS, you know, so you get like the extra characters and abilities and stuff. I'm not saying it's a great idea. I'm just saying it's an idea. So don't hear what I'm not saying. I feel like I say it a lot, but I don't know. I just think a bunch of ports and like re-releases might fill that gap. And a lot of people would be happy to pay $40-$50 for a remaster, a re-release of a title that, you know, maybe we had on the 3DS, but you can't get on the Switch 2 at all. Games like Paper Mario Thousand Year Door were pleasant surprises, right? Like that was a really surprise release. A lot of people were excited about it. I hope it sold well. Super Mario RPG was the same way. Like, I didn't see that one coming at all. And it's great. Like, I love that you can get it on the Switch and play it. So stuff like that, where you can improve an existing game and kind of re-release an older title at the same time. That's the kind of thing I could think Nintendo could do in the short term. In the long term, I don't know. Mario Odyssey was pretty big, right? And if they were to shrink the scope of that game, would it still hit the same? Would it still be as fun to play? Would it still be the same game if the scope was narrowed even further? I don't know. Maybe additional stuff wouldn't be necessary or could be added in paid DLC. Maybe we go back to episodic releases, which came and went very quickly, and I don't want those to come back. But maybe that's the thing. We start getting vertical slices of games released as episodes. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying there's a lot of routes this could turn into, and hopefully they know kind of the first one or two games that they want to try this with, and they don't blow up in our face. Anyway, let's move on. All right, is this our last one? I think we have one more story after this one. All right, Microsoft reportedly doesn't include lost first-party game sales when calculating Xbox Game Pass profits, but the subscription service is apparently earning money regardless. So there's been a lot of discussion. Game Pass is losing money. This is on Games Radar, by the way. Catherine Lewis writes, no, Xbox apparently isn't losing money with Game Pass. When you purchase through, just blindly reading is never the way to go. For a number of years now, it's been claimed Xbox Game Pass is profitable for Microsoft, but it turns out that there's an interesting caveat to this, as Xbox isn't counting revenue lost from first-party games. However, even when you do account for this, the Game Pass subscription service is reportedly still earning money. The first claim on the subject surfaced a couple days ago when the game business co-founder Christopher Dring took to Twitter explaining that costs for Game Pass include fees paid to third parties, marketing, and service costs. However, apparently what they don't count is the lost revenue that Xbox's first-party studios are seeing as a result of the service. Furthermore, he noted, I asked for clarification on the Game Pass is profitable claim and was told no first-party costs are included. While this initially appeared to throw into question the idea that Game Pass could still be profitable at all with hefty first-party costs accounted for, Dring now clarifies that, according to his sources, this isn't a concern. Xbox Game Pass is profitable even when you factor in the lost sales for its first-party teams. Sources who would know have told me, he says. Tweets. Furthermore, he explains that over 18 months ago, I checked with Xbox about what's included in the Game Pass profits and losses. Basically, I was looking to see if Game Pass costs factor in the impact to unit sales of their internal studios. At this point, Dring says he was informed that first-party games have their own profits and losses separate to Game Pass as they make money via other means, such as DLC and microtransactions. He points out that this sure does put pressure on the margins for its internal games, and given this impact, he wanted to check if full impact of the service was being considered in their Game Pass's profitable line. However, he claims he's now been informed by sources that even when you include lost revenue associated with first-party games, not just unit sales but microtransactions, Game Pass is still profitable, so that's great. Dring also points out that when he asked Xbox about this, it was before the company began publishing fully on PS5, something he argues can help studios out when it comes to premium sales. After all, certain Xbox games might be on PS5, but PS5 users can't subscribe to Game Pass to play them. They have to buy those games individually. They could also be on PS Plus, which would be an interesting exchange between the two. But yeah, so just making sure there was nothing else in this article. Interesting that Game Pass is still profitable. I mean, they're talking about we've seen rumors about a price increase being on the way. And I don't know if that's the best move with all of this. I know personally, I'm very, very much losing faith in what Microsoft their goals are with Xbox and the direction Xbox is heading. So how long do I keep paying for Game Pass monthly? Well, we'll see. I mean, I feel like I've gotten more value out of my Switch Online subscription lately. I have played some pretty great games on Game Pass, but nothing first party that would really justify the monthly cost. Stuff that if I bought once, when it came out, it would have been $20-$30, which might be a lot for some people, but I'm a gamer playing big AAA games sometimes. I'm not opposed to spending money on a hobby I'm interested in. The reason Game Pass is appealing is because I don't have to spend as much up front, and that's really how I've been looking at the Game Pass subscription. But I don't know, if it is profitable, great. Hopefully it continues to be that way, but at least we have some kind of an answer. But I do know there are studios that do not think Game Pass is helping them any. And I didn't include any of those articles because I feel like we get enough bad news. I just wanted to talk about interesting or good news this week. But here we are. Our last article for tonight. As heavy rumor still needs to be validated. Take everything I'm about to talk about here with a grain of salt. This is pure rumor, speculation. Could be one angry employee who got laid off at Microsoft sharing his thoughts. So, with that out of the way, report Halo Studios is hit by Microsoft and Xbox layoffs too. Dev says nobody is really happy about the quality of the next game. Amid Xbox cuts, a Halo Studios dev says there's a lot of tension within the team. This is Windows Central from Brendan Lowry, published 2 hours ago, so very recent at the time of this recording. Last week saw brutal layoffs at the Windows and Xbox publisher, Microsoft, with the company letting over 9,000 people go. Its Xbox division was impacted significantly by the cuts, with Rare's Everwild game canceled, Perfect Dark scrapped as well, and its developer, The Initiative, shuttered. Wow, way to bring us back down. I guess we're talking about Halo not being in a good spot, so this rumor is overwhelmingly negative and kind of negates what I was just talking about as we wrapped up the last article. But here we are. Since then, it's come out that multiple other studios were affected as well. According to a new report, Halo Studios, formerly 343 Industries, was one of them. The news comes from an Engadget report, in which it said a Halo Studios developer spoke with the outlet, stating at least 5 employees were let go from the Halo team as part of Microsoft's cuts. Notably, the studio was previously hit hard by a similarly large wave of Microsoft layoffs in 2023. Following a division-wide Xbox email from Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer about imminent organizational shifts to increase agility and effectiveness last week, affected Halo Studios employees were brought into a meeting with leaders and informed of the layoffs. I'm personally super upset. That's not what he said, but I will say personally super upset that Phil's email to us bragged about how this was the most profitable year ever for Xbox, in the same breath as pulling the lever on the layoffs, the developer said. I wasn't sure what part of that I was supposed to be proud about. That's like the classic corporate rug pull, though. Guys, our profits are through the roof, and we have to let 50% of you go. It's like, what the heck? That doesn't make sense. The developer also reportedly said things are tense at the studio right now, and that they've been so even before last week's layoffs. With Halo Infinite support winding down, it's been said the developer is working on multiple projects in Unreal Engine 5, One of these, implied to be the next Halo game we might see later this year that could be out in time for Xbox's 25th anniversary, has apparently gone through significant development struggles. I don't think anybody's really happy about the quality of the product right now, the developer told Engadget. There's been a lot of tension and pep talks trying to rally folks to ship. They then went on to discuss a shift from reliance on working with individuals contracted temporarily, something former Halo Studios devs have criticized strongly in the past, to instead contracting entire studios for development support. In the employees' view, however, this direction hasn't borne much fruit. Xbox in general feels years behind the curve in game development, and it leads to a lot of wasted time and effort, they said, before adding, they're trying their darndest to replace as many jobs as they can with AI agents. Ugh, yuck. Recently, it was suggested Microsoft plans to replace laid-off salespeople with solutions engineers to bolster AI sales. And Microsoft's president of developer division and GitHub, Julia Lewison said using AI was no longer optional as well. Halo needs a win. Will it get one? It very much does need a win. When 343 Industries' Halo Studios rebrand and the move to Unreal Engine 5 was first announced, I wrote about how the move sparked the first optimism I'd felt for Halo in ages. I was kind of the same way. At the time, I believed shifting to a more widely used and understood engine would help speed up and improve the efficiency of development, hopefully ensuring we wouldn't get future releases like Halo 5 Guardians and Halo Infinite that felt unfinished for months or years. Assuming everything from this report is true, though, it sounds like there are still major issues complicating the path forward for Xbox's flagship franchise, and that has me very worried for both the people at Halo Studios and the quality of its next game. Halo has struggled to rise to the former heights of its popularity for well over a decade now, and in my view, it's a result of new games launching with a bare-bones amount of content, followed by slow and underwhelming updates. Sure, they eventually start including media additions and coming at a steady cadence, but by then most players have long since moved on. With Halo's relevance continuing to wither away because of this, what the series really needs right now is a clear win, a new game that, whatever it is, feels complete and whole at launch. But after reading this developer's comments, I'm not exactly confident that it's going to get one. I hope this guy is just upset, maybe blowing things out of proportion, but it would not surprise me. The state of Halo is an interesting one for Microsoft and gaming as a whole, because, I mean, Halo was everything for a while. And then it wasn't, Halo 4, a lot of people were surprised that it existed. It attempted something that I enjoyed. A lot of people didn't, but Halo 4 was cool. I liked it. But as the author of this article said, Halo 5 and Infinite launched so weirdly, and it felt like they were all trying to do too many things in different directions all at the same time. And none of it really coalesced into like a good game. Technically speaking, Halo 5 was fun. The single player, like the story, the missions were really fun. But the story was all over the place. And it was weird. And it ended on a cliffhanger that wasn't resolved in a game. It was resolved in like a comic or a book or something. Halo Infinite picks up and you're just like, all right, where am I? Like the narrative that Halo has adopted, or narrative structure Halo's adopted, is very weird. Multiplayer side of it, I mean, Halo 5 was fun. It had some weird stuff, but I liked what they were doing. I didn't hate it. Infinite, I mean, it launched, but I feel like the sandbox was really tiny. And so there wasn't, you played a few rounds on a couple of maps. You've seen everything there is to see. And it just didn't have the same, like, depth or variety that Halo 5 even felt like it had. And that's weird because there's so much they could have pulled from, but maybe the Slipspace engine didn't allow for them to do that. Maybe now moving to Unreal 5, they can focus on features and not building a new game engine and struggling in that, who knows? I hope it's good. I really do. Halo does definitely need a win desperately to maintain or come back to some sort of relevancy. There's no maintaining. Whatever they maintained at this point is very low, and I wouldn't be surprised if the IP with another failure, if the IP was sold off or just laid dormant for a long time. Again, need a win. I agree with that statement. But anyway, that's where we'll leave the game news. So thanks for stopping in and checking things out with me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Leave a like or dislike on the video. I appreciate all the support lately. Last week's Xbox disappointing video did pretty well. I appreciate the comments we got on that one. But let me know what you guys think about anything here. I'm going to go play video games now. See you next week.